Hello, good morning. It's Laya Says It All as per usual, and today instead of doing commentary, I decided to why not switch it up and do a story time instead. I know that my usual intro is, "Hi, I'm Laya Says It All, and I love to talk about drama I'm not involved in." However, since the drama I'm talking about today I am involved in, I'm going to be switching it up. And if you were not able to read the warning at the beginning, I'll just say it out loud right now. I just want to say that I'm not going to strictly be doing commentary anymore. If you keep up with me and you even read my post about me possibly doing movie Fridays, you'll know that I've been wanting to switch it up for a while now, but I haven't had the courage to. And this is my first time moving away from commentary and doing something personal instead. And in full honesty, the main source and reason of why is because I'm not sure what to do for commentary. I mean, a few months ago there were so many options, but now that I want to do something else, in the community, it's just the same thing in a different font for a different person, and I'm honestly kind of getting tired of it. So today I'm going to be talking about one of the worst teachers I've had in my entire life. One last warning I have is that at the end of the video, once I'm done, telling my story, I am going to be talking about how my channel may have a few changes. Again, if you couldn't read the warning at the beginning, I said that I may be adjusting a little bit to other things and not just commentary. Don't worry, it's most likely not going to be a huge jump, but I'm making it this way so that way that my subscribers know. Even though I barely have any, I do believe there's at least 2 subscribers that are loyal. But anyway, back into the video. And also one more warning, I apologize so much. I am not good at storytelling whatsoever, so if you cannot stand people who don't know how to tell a story, then it's suggested you leave. Okay, let's go all the way back to when I was in 6th grade. This was my first year in middle school, and I was very nervous, especially since I didn't have one teacher and one class all day. Now I had a locker, now I had multiple classes I had to make sure I got to on time, did the homework for, did the schoolwork for, and everything on top of that just made me very nervous like any other person. Luckily, the majority of my teachers were very nice, including my science teacher, which I accidentally ditched his classes more than 3 times, maybe 4 classes I didn't go to. That's a whole different story time. If you want to hear that, I can totally do a story time on that. But even my science teacher, my history teacher, everyone was so decently nice except for one teacher, and that teacher was my math teacher. Not even my mom liked him, which is surprising because when I don't like a teacher, she always says, "Oh, maybe they're having a rough day, or maybe you're misinterpreting it," and she's very forgiving, and so is my father because he's also very forgiving. But not even they liked my math teacher, which surprised me because when we went to a teacher meeting, I thought that she was going to get mad at me for speaking my opinion on how I didn't like my teacher, but it was the exact opposite. When I first walked into his classroom, I was scared, and the main reason why is because with every single teacher I had, my immediate thought was, what if they're really mean? What if they aren't patient, etc., etc.? So it's not like he had this certain energy or this certain feeling to him to where I was immediately oh my gosh, is he mean? I'm so scared. In the first day of school, everything is very foggy, but he was very straightforward, and this automatically led me to the idea of him being mean, which it doesn't mean a teacher being straightforward does not mean that they're rude, by the way. But that was just 6th grade me kind of trying to figure out a person's personality when I barely know them. But I automatically assumed he was mean, and I was right, sadly. Sometimes he felt like he had to embarrass me for me to kind of participate, or he'd have to call me out just so that way I could speak up. As an introverted child and also a very shy child, which I am still introverted and shy, but I like to think that I've gotten better. But like I was saying, as an introvert and shy child, that type of teacher was my worst nightmare. I remember this one specific day, I was sitting down near the front door of the classroom where you'd come in and come out, which is also right beside the whiteboard that he had, and we were watching a video and he was writing a few things down. I was writing notes because I had no idea what was going on, and you know the typical thing, if you're a student or if you were a student in the past, or maybe you're in college right now, you know exactly when, you know, your teacher's calling on random people and you want to look busy so they don't catch you, or, you know, be like, hey, what's the answer? But sadly for me, that didn't come in clutch because he ended up calling on me. He looked over at me and asked, why are you taking notes? There's nothing to take notes on right now. We're discussing this together and it's all very straightforward. He didn't say all of that. He did ask me just, why are you taking notes if this is, you know, very straightforward? However, that's kind of what it felt like because the subject we were on was very straightforward. However, I didn't know how like cents work, like pennies versus like everything else. I mean, of course I know that now. Sometimes I do slip up because it kind of confuses me with like size and stuff like that. But, you know, I'm getting better at it, obviously, and honestly, that's a little bit embarrassing to admit. But, like I was saying, I was young, I was in 6th grade, I was nervous, okay? And him calling on me made everything worse, and not only did it make everything worse, but it made my hatred for him deepen, and my fear for him. I remember one day, we were taking a test, and do keep in mind that if we all passed, this means, or it meant that we would be able to have a pizza party, and if one person were to fail, it means that the class's, you know, score would go down. And you know, with classmates, for some reason, they get mad really quickly and then they'll like lash out on you. But one day I was doing that test knowing that I would fail, and that wasn't me trying to be negative, that was me being truthful, because I was barely passing with a D in his class already, and he already was like, oh my gosh, like, are you really that bad at math? Like that already towards me. So, and also let's call him Mr. D, let's call him Mr. B. I mean B? D. Let's call him Mr. D. But anyway, like I was saying, Mr. D was putting on some pressure on us, being like, come on guys, because if you don't do this correctly, you know, we're not going to get that pizza party y'all want so badly. So I tried my best on that test, and I was sitting with maybe 3 minimum other students, maybe even 2 minimum of other students, and it was like, I'm at the end near the teacher's desk so he can see my computer, because like my desk was in the back, and then it was positioned all in a certain way. I wish I could give like a physical diagram to show you what it's like, but I can't. But it was to a point where he could easily see my computer from his desk, which, why would I even cheat? It was like a locked in test. I wouldn't be that stupid enough to do it right in front of the teacher, let alone in the classroom. But anyway, like I was saying, I was at the very end, and you know, I was very nervous, but eventually I turned it in from after stalling for a few seconds. And when I did, the score went down and he announced like, hey guys, so someone just turned it in and that person failed, so our like percentage went down. For some reason, 6th graders really take their pizza party seriously, so when they heard this, they were like, oh my gosh, like, are you serious? And doing all of these, I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of unnecessary, like doing all of this exaggerated stuff, but at the same time, it was 6th grade, it's a different time. But they were like, are you serious? Like, who did it? You did it? And like, did you do it? Did you do it? And just going around, and eventually one of them asked, did you do it? To me. And of course I'm gonna say no, because if I said yes, they'd probably resent me for the rest of that year, all because I failed on a test because they wanted a pizza party. Then there was another test that I had actually passed. I can't remember if it was that same test or not, but considering that the score went skyrocketing down after I turned it in, I'm guessing that that was me who failed. But like I said, one day I actually did not fail, I actually passed, and instead of being weird, he normally congratulated me, unlike he usually did. He was like, oh, you did it, good job, like I saw that you passed. And I was like, oh really? I was even surprised. And he was like, yeah, you passed, congratulations. I was like, oh, that's cool, thanks. But there was another time that I don't want to say went too far, but it was definitely weird, or at least in my opinion it was weird. Something I have always hated is participating in class, and that was definitely more of a thing when I went in person, and especially in the 6th grade, and especially in that man's class, in Mr. D's class. So one day while I was sitting there, he asked a very simple question, and I mean extremely simple. Even a 1st grader could probably answer this. He asks, what does it mean to have more than one thing, or something along that lines, like what does it mean to have multiple of things in math? And I answered, oh, when you have more of one thing, like very simple, very easy. After I answered that, tell me why he was like, oh, come up here, and twirled me around after that. I don't know what that was about. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I think he's a weirdo for no reason. But was it really necessary to do that? And I feel like he did that because I don't answer much in class. I spaced out a lot. I daydreamed a lot. And I feel like he was doing that either to embarrass me or genuinely congratulate whatever me for participating in class. I don't know. Tell me what y'all think in the comments or something. I just think that was a really weird move. But to make this a little bit shorter and to get to the last part of the video where I'm going to be talking about my channel, what I want to say is that, well, I remember when it was teacher conference day, my mom and I went to all of my classrooms. She was like, oh, your teachers are nice. And then we got to my Mr. D. I think that Mr. D was the last person I had to see for that day, so it was like a get it done and go thing. After that, we were in there for a little bit, and he was like, oh, well, she has like a low D and blah 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 blah. I was just sitting there listening and then like being like, oh yeah, I can do that, or I can change this, I can change that, I'll try to change this or that with whatever he was telling me. And after we leave, my mom was like, geez, now I can see why you don't like him, he was rude. And I was like, exactly, now you see where I'm coming from. Anyway, that's enough for my story time. Now I'm going to be talking about my channel. If you don't want to hear that, and if you don't care about my channel, maybe this is your first time even hearing about me, so you don't know what the heck is going on with my channel, you can leave, I don't mind. But if you are curious, you can stay. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. If you have stayed because you are curious about my channel, I'm not sure if I want to do mainly commentary. My original intent when making this channel was for me to talk about drama going on in the world, mainly on social media, and it was supposed to be for everybody but me talking about my own personal things, because originally I didn't want to really put anything out there, but I decided to change that up today for 2 reasons. My first reason is that, well, being the biggest reason, is that most of these commentary things, and I already said this early in the video, but every single drama that goes on that's, besides illegal things that are just morally wrong, they're always the same thing in different fonts and different people. And it's not interesting anymore. I mean, it is interesting, but not to the point where I'm like, oh, you know what, I'm bored, let's go make a video. I only make videos about that when I'm extremely bored, or maybe I'm interested, or maybe even both. It has come to a point where it's not something I want to do anymore, hence why I want to change a little bit. My main focus, I'm not even sure what I want to do anymore. Maybe I'll do movie reviews on Fridays. Maybe I'll make like a little schedule for myself. I'm still trying to get better at editing. But like I was saying, I'm still figuring out what I want my channel to be and what I want it to look like. Character, like aesthetic, music, etc. And that's why you see so much change on my channel. I do this one thing and then I do another. I don't like that theme and then I change to another once again. It's all very confusing for probably my audience and me as well. But I just wanted to say that if I do change up, it's me trying to get comfortable with myself, and I just really don't know if I want to focus on commentary anymore. If you really want to be caught up with this, I suggest going to my posts if I do end up posting anything, or maybe I'll make a whole entire video talking about what I want to do with my channel. However, what I may do is focus on talking about like TV shows, personal story times, and here and there a little bit of commentary, because to be honest, in the community of commentary, you are expected to kind of do so much, and it gives me a lot of pressure. And I also know that, I get why there's so much pressure to make sure that you're right, because it's not good to just sit there and accuse somebody of doing something especially if it's criminal or illegal, because that's not cool. I mean, imagine that like there's this one little slip up and people get it wrong, and all of a sudden like you're like considered a criminal. I totally get that, but I want my channel to be more carefree and opinionated rather than factual, because with factual it could be changed, it could be seen in the wrong light. There's so many possibilities with the truth. So I may change my channel. I may do, like I literally said 1,000 times, I may do commentary every now and then, and my focus is on like stories, books, shows, story time, etc., because I feel like that's just more me. And if I were to do something that's way more me, I'd be doing like flash games and gameplays, because I've always wanted to be a gaming YouTuber and be famous for that, but at the same time I'm not very comfortable recording myself playing games, so I don't really know about that. But that's really all I have to say. That's what you can expect from me and my YouTube channel in the future. I hope you guys understand, and I also hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I love you all so much. I'm going to start packing because I'm doing a little picnic with my friend tomorrow, and I'm super excited. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.